Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 6 of The Featured Voice. I hope that you all enjoyed your 4th of July weekend. This week on The Featured Voice, we have an opportunity to speak with a newcomer in the industry. She has a little over 10 titles to her name, but don't let that scare you. She's very, very talented. I've had an opportunity to check out a few of her works, and I'm excited about introducing you guys to her so that you can add her to your collection as well. So please help me welcome to the show, Jennifer Fournier. Hi, Jennifer. How's it going?
Oh, it's going great. Thank you for having me.
I'm so glad that you're here and a part of the featured voice. As you know, this is the 6th week, and you're the 4th female. So it seems like all the women are taking over. You guys are taking over audiobooks and narration. What do you think about that?
Well, we're taking over the world anyway, so it just fits that we do audiobooks too.
That's right, girl power and Wonder Woman and all that good stuff.
How did you know Wonder Woman? She is on my mug that or my cup that I'm drinking from right now.
Because you're a Wonder Woman, that's why. And because I'm sort of stalking you on the little Skype video that you have up. So I'm cheating everybody. I'm cheating everybody. So, well, again, welcome to the show. Everyone, as you know, that we are doing 6 weeks of the feature voice, which introduces you guys to new voiceover actors and actresses. And Jennifer, I met her in a group called Audiobook Lovers, and we just connected. So I'm glad that along with you guys, I get to learn a little bit more about her and her book. So let's kind of just dive right in. So I know that you said that you just got off work not too long ago. So how'd you get started in audiobooks? And are you right now just doing this part-time? And is it something you'd like to do full-time at some later on?
Yes, right now I am a part-time audiobook narrator only, and I would love to do it full-time. I that might happen for me this fall. Basically, my full-time job, I'm working more or less on a contract basis, and my contract is set to expire at the end of September. So if it's not renewed, I will jump into audiobook full-time.
And that's amazing. And the good part about it is one, you get to work from home and you don't have to fight that terrible traffic that we spoke about earlier. And you
Oh, yes.
how
I
much
the traffic kills me.
I mean I so are you so do you drive in or do you commute to your job?
I drive in and my commute is about 1 hour in the morning, and that's when I leave at 5:30 in the morning. And when I come home at night, it is about an hour and a half.
Oh, bless your heart. See, this is why, okay, it would be wrong if I said, I hope your contract's not renewed so we get more of you doing the narrating work and you get to save on gas. You don't have to be in traffic, no road rage. But you don't look like you're a road rager. Are you a road rager?
No, not at all. I actually use my commuting time to listen to audiobooks, so I'm usually pretty mellow and enjoying a good story when I'm driving.
See, that is the reason why we need to promote more audiobooks. We could get rid of a lot of road rage if people just popped in a good audiobook and just listen to it. It keeps people so calm. Well, it depends on what you're listening to because it can get a little spicy and then you're not paying attention and that could be bad. So so
That would be bad.
so what's in your what are you listening to? What book are you listening to currently?
I'm actually listening to Emma right now, Jane Austen's Emma, narrated by Juliet Stevenson.
Okay.
Um, you just can't get better than that practically. But I wanted something a little bit nice and low key and pleasant, and that I know very well because I've read all of the Austen books about 30 times each.
So is that your favorite author?
Yeah, certainly not my favorite modern author, which I have those as well, but in terms of historical authors, absolutely.
Okay, well we'll get into your favorite modern author a little bit later. So tell everyone how you actually stumbled into being a narrator and how you got your start.
Well, what happened is, like I said, I listened to a lot of audiobooks, and I found this website called LibriVox.org.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they are a website that has public domain audiobooks. So in other words, people record books that are in the public domain, so they aren't living authors normally anymore. And even the audiobook itself, they put out into the public domain. So it's free and it's available, and they have thousands. So I started listening to books on LibriVox.org. Well, the one thing that is a little bit annoying about LibriVox is at the start of every single chapter, they give this little disclaimer that says, this is a public domain audiobook. And for more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Well, after I listened to that many, many times, I, of course, got on the website to look it up and decided to start volunteering.
That's nice. I've heard of it, but you're the first person to really explain, what it is. So do you think that's a good resource for people who are looking to get into the business and maybe kind of testing out if they think they would be a good fit since they're able to look at those, those classics and go through and kind of narrate them?
Absolutely. In fact, one of the wonderful things about LibriVox for a person who wants to test the waters of narration is LibriVox's goal, which is to simply record all the books that they can. Mm-hmm. So they are less concerned about meeting strict quality controls or criticizing your performance than they are in simply getting the book recorded. So it's a very pleasant environment. It's a very positive and encouraging one. Now, I'm not saying that a person could go to LibriVox and not grow from there, because I think you would need to grow from there by and large. But it's a great place to start to find out if you even like the mechanics of recording and hearing yourself and playing with all of the editing software. And as you're exploring that, you will be producing books for LibriVox or stories or chapters. So you're doing a good thing as you test the waters.
I love that you put that information in there. One, because you said you have to see if you like your voice. Yeah, so that would be the first X in my box. I don't want to hate the way I sound. Like, even these podcasts, I never go back and listen to them. I send them to my editor and she says, this is what I changed. And I say, great, I just upload it because, I don't want to hear my voice. And then you mentioned the editing software and all that. No, I'm just not good at that. However, there are people out there who are interested in doing that. And like you said, I think that's a good place to start. And you're not getting the critiques about, oh, your pacing was too slow. And, kind of the things that I think some narrators usually see, doing reviews and things like that, or even from the authors if they want you to change something. So that's always fun. And speaking of, everybody, again, I am doing a sneak peek in Jennifer's studio, and I love to do sneak peeks because this is where they spend a lot of their time. And even if you are working part-time like Jennifer, she spends a lot of time in there. So can you give us a little tour of your, I see the giant mic. The mic is like taking up the whole screen.
Well, that's just because your Skype window is so small.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, it is. The mic is, let's see, the whole mic is about this big. I'd say probably with the pop filter on it, it's maybe 6 inches wide all the way across.
That's a half a foot.
So
that's a half a foot, Jennifer. That's big.
Yeah. Well, the pop filter takes a little bit of space.
Okay.
It's to hopefully make you sound a little better and less sound strange with all your P's. So a quick tour of my studio. What I have on the wall is some black sound baffling, basically. It helps reduce the reverb, so it helps reduce the echo sound that you may get. Okay. It keeps your environment quieter. That's what I have on 3 walls. But my other wall is actually a sound curtain that I have up. That is because my recording studio, this area here, is actually a nook off of an internal room in my house in the basement. Okay. So this is just a small part of the main room.
I've never heard of a SoundCloud. Wait, it's a SoundCloud. That's not what you said. And now I'm thinking of the website, SoundCloud.
Yeah. No, this is, oh yes, my sound curtain, which is over here. So basically what it is it's slightly more elaborate than just hanging up a quilt or something like that. But that is the basic concept. You're putting up folds of fabric so that the sound waves don't bounce back sharply, but
Hmm.
instead just kind of get absorbed and diffused that way.
That makes sense. So, do you have any snacks in there?
I have no snacks because I wouldn't be eating in here. But what I do have is my water bottle. I do have a couple pieces of gum,
Hmm.
and which maybe other narrators don't have, I actually have my knitting.
Wow. Okay. Fancy me this, Jennifer. So you have, I saw her ball of yarn and she's got her knitting material. So can you multitask and like narrate and knit at the same? I would love to see you do that.
Absolutely not. No, I do not knit while I narrate, but there is a lot of time sucked up with the computer. Sometimes exporting files takes several minutes,
Mhm.
or if I'm in the process of archiving files or something like that, I find that all of that goes much more smoothly for me if I can pick up my knitting and knit one or two rounds while the computer is spinning and doing its thing.
So that's really cool. See, normally, see me, I'd say, okay, the computer's doing this thing, and I'm gonna walk away. But you're staying in there, I guess, because technically you're in the zone to work, and so that kind of keeps you in that workspace. But me, like, I walk away, and then I'm outside playing with the dogs, or and I don't know, eating a popsicle or something, and then I forget that I was supposed to be working and waiting for those files. And so you're smart. I should totally be like you.
I try it. Also, it's a nice calming thing to not let yourself get crazy with the computer.
Yeah, gotta love technology, right?
Hmm.
So okay, so we know that you started you we know how you started with audiobooks. So do you have any formal training or background in any type of acting that you did previously before you started with narration?
No, I don't have anything like that, and I know that puts me at rather a disadvantage. At this point, I'm still truly learning. I'm practicing. I have done a few online educational things, for example, webcasts and things like that. I also have, a mentor. I have someone that I go to for help sometimes, but no, no formal acting background like that, nothing.
And I don't think that puts you at a disadvantage, Jennifer. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say, sometimes when you don't have the background, you can kind of make your own. I don't know, make your own statement, and it's not based on something that you learned because things change all the time, and so a lot of people do like um, people who can be a little bit more natural, and so maybe that's your thing is that you're a little bit more natural, and then later on you take those courses and things. I took a listen to a couple of your samples on Audible, so I didn't just make that statement up. I mean, I think they sound really good. There was one that I listened to that I put in my wish list. um Gosh, I can't wait. I'm gonna look it up and tell you what it is
Oh, I'd
in a
love to hear
sec.
that.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you what it is because I said, oh, I need to get that book, and I'm trying to broaden my horizon outside of a certain genre. So that really helps me when I can find um, narrators who aren't just in typical type of romance, so to speak.
Hmm.
It
Well,
is the Ghoul.
the
I'm gonna
Ghoul
mess it up.
Archipelago.
Yeah, that one.
Yes. So I'm so glad you mentioned that because that is something that I have found is amazing about working in audiobooks and doing things like this is broadening my own horizons.
Mhm.
The Ghoul Archipelago is really a horror book, and it's written by an author that I met a couple years ago. I loved some of his other books. So when I met him again, we started talking and we discussed the Ghoul Archipelago. And as I told him, I said, "Woo, I've never done horror and not
Mhm.
really a genre that I read a lot, but sure, I'm interested." So I submitted an audition and he said that that was good. So I recorded the book for him and it was a blast. Very outside of what I would say I normally do, but
Mhm.
the author is just so good. It's so well written and kind of sharp. He's sort of a zingy author. He's got some pointed things that he says. Um, I really enjoyed doing it.
So, do you think you'd ever do more horror books after that one?
Yes, I got a real kick out of it, and I was surprised. Just like you said, working outside of maybe your normal genre, I was surprised at how much I enjoyed doing it. And in fact, I went right out and auditioned for a couple more.
But you didn't get scared because I'm kind of scary, and so if it's really scary, then I'm probably gonna only listen to it in the morning, and not at night. I don't know. That's weird, right?
No, I think that's fair. I'm not sure that this book was this isn't ghost story scary. This
Okay.
is, zombie scary.
See, that's still scary because I'm. Are you laughing at me?
A little bit.
It's fun. I talk to people about people who write these zombie books, and most authors do research on things, and then when you talk to people who write zombie or apocalyptic books, and they tell you how they research, and I'm saying, how do you research that? Isn't that supposed to be fiction? And then they give you things that can be true, and so if you're telling me that zombies can be real, I might be a little skeptical about listening to it if I know I could wake up and the sun's gonna explode and the dead's gonna rise and start walking and trying to eat my brain or something. I don't know.
That would be bad.
It would be very bad. And then, but I'd probably try to do a podcast with them, like the zombies are coming. So, I'd probably use it as an opportunity. But, so yeah, I've added that book to my wish list. Now, do you remember what your first book was?
Absolutely. So the first official book that I actually did was for LibriVox, but the first commercial book that I did was Doggone Christmas, a
Okay.
Polly Parrot pet sitter cozy murder mystery. And that was a great book. It's a short novella, so it's only about
Hmm.
2.5 hours long, and it's a cozy mystery. So it's got a fair amount of humor. It does have a dead body, so it has a little bit of mystery to it,
Hmm.
and it's got a heroine who loves animals. What else do you want?
Nothing actually, and those books are written by Liz Dodwell, and there's quite a few of them in there. And of course, I did some research and I looked at those, and I'm a big fan of puppies and dogs, and I see there's quite a few with a few dogs on there. So I might have to add those to the list too. Again, because it's so funny in these conversations, everybody mentions something about mysteries and thrillers and cozy mysteries, and the more that I hear about them, it's like, okay, I really need to kind of jump into that, since a lot of people are writing them and narrating them. And again, I have a bunch of them in my wish list. I just haven't had a chance to listen to them yet. So I'm thinking what I need to go on a long road trip and just pop them all in, and then just kind of go from there. And since you've done them and they're a little bit shorter, I could probably get through a couple of them in one good road trip.
Yes, and the nice thing about them really is that they are short, but they are complete stories on their own.
Hmm.
So it's a nice short time investment, and you get a taste of whether or not you like a cozy mystery.
Yeah. And again, I always have to go back to Murder She Wrote. Every time I think cozy mystery, I think Murder She Wrote, and probably Diagnosis Murder, because he's a doctor and he's always saw, like, you're a doctor, dude. You're not even a detective. But hey, we liked him. Dick Van
Hmm.
Dyke. You can't go wrong with Dick Van Dyke. Um, so how was your holiday? Your 4th of July. Did you do anything fun?
Well, I did do something fun, but that might not be what you think it was. I spent pretty much my weekend recording. Um,
I'm
so I
so
liked it.
I'm like, I'm not disappointed. It's just interesting. Do you ever have a day off? What's your regular schedule? Since I know you work. By the way, everybody, I just have to say, is it okay if I say what you tell me your full time job is?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so you told me that you are a JAG lawyer in the U.S. Air Force Reserve. I have no
Right.
idea what that is, but it's a really cool title, and JAG was a TV show, so I know that it's an important it's an important job. So, tell me about a day in the life of I guess a JAG is a lawyer, but it's just the term that you use for persons who are in the Air Force, right?
Right. It actually stands for Judge Advocate General, which is just the lawyer in the military. It's
Mm-hmm.
not really any fancier than that. No, so I'm a reserve. I'm a member of the United States Air Force Reserve, the reserve component. So I do orders occasionally. I don't work all the time, full time. But when I do work, I work full time.
Mm-hmm.
And right now I'm on a set of orders. So my Monday through Friday job, I go into my office most of the time. Sometimes I telework, but normally I'm going in. I work there and then I come home. And right now, Monday through Friday, in the evenings, I'll spend usually at least an hour working on corrections to a textbook that I've been narrating.
Mm-hmm.
And on the weekends, I work on a novel that I'm recording.
So you have a really busy schedule, and along with that, she has fur babies. How many fur babies do you have in your home?
We have two dogs. They are Chinooks, which is actually the state dog of New Hampshire. They're
Oh.
a rare breed. They're wonderful dogs. They're bred to be kind and gentle and get along well with other animals. So,
Mm-hmm.
again, can't ask for more than that. And we have four cats.
So yeah, she's got a mini zoo, and just like we do, and
And I got to tell you one more thing. We
yes.
have five chickens.
See? Okay, so a farm. She has a zoo farm. And you
They're in
and
the
you
backyard of our suburban house. But
I know
yes, we
I
do
was just
have
gonna
five
say
chickens.
that like you're way over there like East Coast and you've got chickens and four cats and two dogs. But I mean I've heard people actually have, a lot more animals than that. So I'm wondering, I mean, so do you keep the chickens pets, or are you using them? I'm not gonna say you like go off and you have chicken dinners or anything, but like you use them for what, the dairy, the eggs or something, or are they really just part of the family and they just kind of run around and they have names?
Well, they do have names. They are pet chickens, but we do get the eggs.
Okay.
However, for example, our oldest chicken, her name is Brownie, and she is happily retired. She doesn't lay eggs anymore, but she's not going to go into the pot.
Oh, so is that like the human version of menopause?
Yes. Oh, can I tell you something else about Brownie? Because this is a
Yes.
great, great thing. So you mentioned Liz Dodwell, and she writes the Polly Parrott Cozy Mysteries. Well, Liz and I obviously communicate with each other. And at one
Mm-hmm.
point, I was telling her about the animals that we have, and I mentioned the chickens. And she told me she was going to have a chicken in one of her next books. And that chicken was going to be jumping for something. And I talked to her and I said, we've got a chicken and we have a chicken who jumps. No kidding. She jumps for treats. So I went right outside and Liz had said she was going to have her jump for spaghetti. So I, of course, as soon as I talked to Liz, hung up, quickly boiled some water, did a couple strands of spaghetti, went out with my husband. We're holding the spaghetti up and we're like, Brownie, jump for the spaghetti. And she did. And we filmed it. And I sent it to Liz. And I said, Liz, look, here's Brownie jumping for spaghetti. And sure enough, Brownie showed up in the next book.
Oh, so Brownie's a celebrity.
She is by
Go
name.
her.
Brownie the chicken is in the book.
So do you think that she thought it was a worm? Do chickens eat worms? Did I just make that
Oh,
up?
no, they do, and they love them.
Oh, so you tricked her with spaghetti. She thought she was getting a worm. Poor
Yeah, but she
girl.
jumps for anything food related.
That's totally fine. I love that. I love that she's not going into the pot and she's chill. And even though she's kind of out of commission with the whole eggs, you got the rest of the chickens that's going around and laying those eggs. So let me ask you, Jennifer, what comes first, the chicken or the egg?
In this case, it was the chicken because we got the chicks first.
All right, I love that. I love that. So, can you give us a little information about what you're currently working on?
Sure, I'm working on a book called Midnight Burning. It's the first of a trilogy written by Carissa Laurel, and the name of the trilogy is the Norse Chronicles. So, as I've been telling friends when I talk about it, I say, yes, Norse gods walk among us. And
Yes.
that's the book. It's really good.
I love Norse mythology. Is this an adult book or is it NA, YA? What group should we put that book in?
It's definitely an adult book,
Okay.
and but it has adult themes in it, but it's not explicit in anything, at
Okay.
least not yet with the first book.
Okay.
Um, and I had to learn how to pronounce things like Mjolnir, Thor's hammer,
Hmm.
um, things like that.
Good job. Did you go on YouTube?
I went everywhere and talked to the author.
That makes a lot of sense. I always wonder how you guys can look at the book, and it's so interesting. A lot of paranormal books, they don't use regular names. It's not regular names. It's always got some different spelling. And if you actually like have to go on YouTube or put in, I think there's a thing online where you type the name in and you can put in how you want it to pronounce it for you. And all of that stuff. So you did really good with that. And what are some other names or words in the book that were kind of out of the box for you that you had to kind of find your way around saying?
Had to get Jerngripper, which is the gauntlets. I think that's
Mm-hmm.
the gauntlets that Thor wears. And then there was this entire phrase, it's a sentence or two, a war cry. And I not only had to, review what the author had written, but in that case, what I did is I actually recorded it first and I sent it to the author. And I was like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
did I get this one right? And she came back to me. She said, yep, you did. So that I knew I was on the right page, and that's what I recorded.
That sounds amazing. So, okay, so we know Norse, I guess, is that. See, I'm going to be geographically stupid here because I don't know if it's like, if there's Scandinavian accent or if it's, I really just don't know. So, what accent did you have to use for this particular book, if one at all?
Well, really, all of the characters are in America, so
Okay.
no heavy accents at all. What I did do is when I was pronouncing things that, well, like Mjolnir, I tried to give it a little bit more of a Nordic flavor because the person saying it, you know, okay, I'll give away a little bit of a spoiler, is a Viking, like
Mm
actually a Viking
hmm.
from a really long time ago, more or less a Viking. So
Mm hmm.
I wanted to make it sound more like a fluent speaker would have said the word that way,
Mm
as
hmm.
opposed to an American repeating it. So, but that's really about it. The rest of it, they're all American.
I love it. I can't wait till it comes out. And so you're currently working on that now. Um, so maybe before the month is over, we should see it.
Um, my due date, which I think I'll meet with no problem, is the end of July. Then it
Okay.
will take a few weeks to get out. So probably look for it in mid August, maybe the third week of August.
Okay, sounds good. So we will be looking for and tell us the name of the book again.
Midnight Burning,
Midnight Burning, and who's the author?
Carissa Laurel.
Carissa Laurel.
Maybe it's Laurel. I mean, I know how to write it. I'm not sure how she pronounces her last name. I better figure that out for the credits.
Yeah. Okay, but Laurel.
Yes.
Okay, so as long as you guys know how to spell it, Laurel, it doesn't matter how you say it in your head. If you spell it right, you'll find the book. So that's what
True.
we're go. That's what we'll go with, and so we'll be looking forward to that when it releases on sometime in August, and I can't wait. So those of you who enjoy a good mythology book, especially Norse mythology, you enjoy that. You see that Jennifer mentioned Thor. There's a lot of Thor fans out there. I'm wondering if Loki will show up at some point in one of these books. Maybe Odin, because he's my favorite. And maybe we should tell the author that Odin needs to be in there at some and Freya, because those are my peeps. And and honestly, I know nothing about Norse mythology. I just made all that up. All right, so let's find out a couple more fun things about Jennifer. Okay, so you told us that Jane Austen is your favorite author as far as classic. So what about contemporary, current? Who's your favorite authors? Your go tos?
Probably Laurie R. King.
And what
She
genre is that?
she's written several different genres as well as some standalone books that you would just probably call literary fiction.
Hmm.
But her most popular series, I think, is her Mary Russell series, which is a Sherlock Holmes revamp.
Hmm.
Um, she is a fantastic author. I mean, great plots, great stories, all of that. But what really appeals to me is her words, the words she chooses to use. She is a lyrical and intelligent author who usually makes me look a word up. And I love that. I love it when I read a book and I got to look something up.
That's always a good way to expand our vocabulary, right? You're reading a book and you're saying, "I really don't know what that word is, but I like it and it's spelled so pretty. Let me look it up." And do you ever do that and you find out what it means and then you start to use the word and you feel really special now because you just learned a new word? I do
Absolutely.
that. This is why I watch CNN. I always find a new word on CNN, and that's how I increase my vocabulary. CNN is tops. And now I need to add that author to my list so that I can increase my vocabulary. So thank you for sharing that. And it seems like you kind of are into mysteries, since you mysteries or problem solving maybe a little bit, since you said she kind of does a Sherlock Holmes revamp, although she writes some other things. So is that kind of, one of your pleasures, mystery thriller type books?
I do. I do like to read those quite a lot, but I will say that I've been transitioning over the past couple years away from the mysteries a bit and more into some of the urban fantasy and paranormal type things.
Hmm.
So just a evolution or a change in my habits at the moment.
I think that's a good thing, and again, like we said earlier, that's going to really benefit you with your work as you move forward with your career in narrating. You'll be well rounded, and that's always good when you have when your mind is open to other things. So right now in your library, it looks like you have about how many books to date that you've recorded?
11.
11 books, and when did you start?
I started commercially with ACX, where you're looking on the Audible site, in March of 16. So just a little bit over a year ago.
Okay, and everybody, Jennifer will probably, we don't know, maybe doing this full time later on this year. And I do invite you to go and check out her library on Audible. Type in Jennifer, spelled with two N's. Fournier, Fournier, and Jennifer also is on SoundCloud, and I think it's just your name, correct, Jennifer?
Yes.
Okay, so you can also find Jennifer on SoundCloud and take a listen to a few of her demos. Now, so what are some books or some genres that you want to do that you haven't done yet? I know you like horror, and hopefully you'll do a few more of those, and I'm going to listen to this other one and see how it is. But is there anything else that's like on your bucket list and I really want to narrate that type of book?
Well, what I've been discovering lately is I really like narrating short stories. And I also like reading them as well. I've been picking up a lot of anthologies of short stories and reading those. I did recently record a book called Transcendence by Danielle Ackley McPhail, and that is a book of short stories. And I have a couple of more in the pipeline. Those are great. They're these nice little vignettes to read in 30-minute increments if you want, in terms of recorded audio.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm enjoying that quite a lot lately. I'm also doing a project with something that I don't think I've mentioned yet, which is Voices of Today, which is another organization that I work with. So it's not just working with ACX.
Mm-hmm.
And on that, I'm actually more in a producer role. We're gathering several narrators, 5 narrators, and we're each recording 2 stories. And we're going to put together a compilation of short stories.
Okay.
Right now, the working title is just Potpourri of Stories, but I don't know what will go with the final title. This is still rather in progress, in early days. But it's great because this is going to be a mixture Some of the narrators are choosing to do public domain texts, so they're classics if you want.
Hmm.
I'm working with a couple of living authors. One of them is Danielle, and another is J.A. Pack, who's a fantastic author. You want to talk about lyrical writing? She takes the cake with that. So working with those two, and I think this will be a good compilation too.
That sounds really nice. So, do you do any writing yourself?
I do not. I took a short story writing class when I was in college, and I learned pretty quickly that that is not my area of expertise. Mm-mm.
See,
No.
you sound like me with the whole editing thing. You kind of know within the first few minutes if it's going to be a fit or not. And instead of wasting your time, you're like, yeah, no, that's just not going to work. Next.
Exactly. I mean, hey, like probably everyone, I have some little fantasies about, oh, I could write the next great American novel, but then I remember my short story class and I went, yeah, no.
That's so funny. Well, okay, I have a question for you, and it's kind of out of the box. So let's say you did write a book, or let's say somebody did an autobiography or a bibliography of you. Who would you cast to narrate your story?
Oh, wow. Um, I suppose it's too easy to say I'd cast like Barbara Rosenblatt just because she's amazing. Um, who would I cast?
It's the first person that came to your head.
Well, that's just because she's amazing. I mean, who wouldn't want her to do your work? Um, have you listened to her?
I haven't, but now I want
Oh,
to. If she's gonna narrate your biography.
yeah, she's pretty much like the one of the superstars in the audiobook narration world. Just excellent. Ah, I am not really sure. You've stumped me.
Have
I
I?
can't think.
I've never stumped anybody before. But that's
Yeah,
okay. We'll just go with your first choice. You don't have to try to escalate it down to somebody else. That's the person that you see and hear in your head talking about you as a JAG officer and a book narrator and having four chickens or three chickens and a retired chicken and two dogs and four cats. Of course your story will be about more than that, but I would want that to be in the front. I think we should write this and talk about it and name it Jennifer's Zoo Farm. There we go.
I love it.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what are you doing when you're not in the booth, when you're not working. What are some things you like to do to relax, to kind of refocus and center yourself?
I I read, of course, that probably goes without saying, right?
Right.
Um, in addition to reading, I like to do handcrafts. I mean, I already mentioned the knitting. I also have a loom and I do weaving. I
Mm-hmm.
have a spinning wheel and I will spin my own yarn. So I like to do those things. They're quiet activities. I'm a rather quiet person. I won't normally, for example, play music in the background or things like
Mm-hmm.
that. So they're quiet activities and I can be calm and peaceful and focused. And depending on what they are, they might even be challenging.
I've never met anybody who could spin yarn. I don't even know what that looks like. I mean, the first thing I thought about was what was that story with the spinning the goal and pricking the finger, and I don't even know what that is. What story
Well,
is
you've got
that?
the Rumpelstiltskin
I mixed them
story.
all together.
Yeah, you've got the Sleeping Beauty story in there. Um, and then
And once
there are
upon a time.
lots of other ones about, poor peasant girls who have to spin straw into gold and such.
You see how I did that, everybody? I just made up one nice fairy tale just because I don't know what it was. But yeah, again, I've never met any. I would love to see what that spinning wheel looks like. So maybe you'll send me a picture and I can take a look at it and take a picture of you spinning on it so I can see what it looks like and I don't have to go on YouTube and find some unknown person actually doing that.
I will do that. I will send you a picture of me and my spinning wheel.
Yes, see how easy it is, people? You just ask a question, and nice people like Jennifer says yes and sends you a picture. And I promise I will not share it with anybody. It'll be my secret picture to look at and say, wow, this is what she does to meditate. Maybe I should learn how to do that to refocus. But yeah, I don't have enough patience for that. So I'll just look at your picture and I'll recenter myself that way.
Oh, there
I
you
think that
go.
works. I think that works. Well, thank you so much, Jennifer, for joining me and being our featured voice for week 6. I would love for people to be able to follow you. I believe that you told me that you were on Facebook. So tell everyone where they can find you on Facebook.
Right, on Facebook, right now I only have a personal page, which is under my name, Jennifer Fournier. One of the things I will do if I do go full time and get a little more breathing space in my life is I'll get a little more professional with the putting up a professional page and probably getting a website. But for now, I'm still pretty low key. Just my personal page. I do have a SoundCloud account, and that would be fantastic if you followed me there because I will be, right now it's pretty much only samples, but I will be uploading public domain texts and other things like that, poetry, stuff like that.
Okay, good. So, what we'll do is at the if you're following us for the featured voice, we will be sure to add the SoundCloud web URL for you to follow. Again, you probably can go to SoundCloud and search Jennifer's name and pull it up. Her last name isn't common, so you shouldn't find a gazillion Fourniers in there. Although we found a couple of them on Skype, which was weird.
Yeah.
So I take
One
that
thing,
back.
yeah. One thing you might find if you get onto SoundCloud and search my name is I've been part of several different audio dramas. So I usually have relatively small roles, sometimes bigger roles. It's with Voices of Today and it's with the online stage. So you actually might find my name in a lot of things other than just my own page. And
I
those are
love
great to
that.
listen to.
That sounds like, so is that like radio dramas?
Some of them are more like radio dramas, absolutely. Some of them are audio plays, so
Mhm.
less of the sound effects and more like someone's telling you what's happening on a stage. And others are stories that are narrated with multiple voices, full casts. I actually did one that's up there. You can probably find it. I love it. I think it's great. It's like 15 minutes long. It's called Christmas in 1776. And it's just a lovely little story about a girl waiting for her dad to come home from George Washington's side.
I love it. I love that. So, is there a website for Voices of Today?
There is, it's a SoundCloud account, soundcloud.com/voices of today. The other thing you can search for is Drama for Nothing. Isn't that a
Okay.
great one to search for?
I
Drama
love
for
it.
Nothing.
Drama for nothing. Yes.
Drama for Nothing. And that's actually www.onlinestagefree.com.
So we want to make sure that we add that information too, especially if you're looking for something a little bit different than just regular audiobooks. You can also find Jennifer in some of those productions and get an idea of what she does and also what those organizations do. And I'm looking forward to adding that to my playlist too because I like to listen and I don't watch a lot of TV. So I kind of get more into a story listening to somebody describe and have those emotions. And that's what makes it so much fun. So I will be following and we will add that all next week or this week while Jennifer is our featured voice. And again, we are so excited to have her here with us today. We are looking forward to her the upcoming release of Midnight Burning, which is scheduled hopefully to release in mid-August. So be sure that you're looking out for that. And thank you, Jennifer, for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me. I have had a great time.
Same here, and I'll be waiting for my picture. And
I'll
you
send
can
it.
even send me pictures of the chickens. Like I'll take those too.
Hey, I can send you the video of Brownie jumping.
I want to see it, and the dogs, and the dogs that I've never heard of before. So I want to just send me a family picture. How about that?
I I will do that.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for week 6 of the Featured Voice. Be sure that you are following me on social media on Facebook at The Audio Flow. Also on Instagram at the audio flow, and also on Twitter at the underscore audio underscore flow. Until next time, remember that everything is love at first sound. Bye.